Welcome to Active Adoptions Podcast. I'm your host, McKenzie Love, and we have Heidi and Mindy here co-hosting with me. And today we have Ain and Sarah, and they are adoptive parents here to tell us.
Wait, we are? I'm just kidding. Oh, yeah, we are.
This is going to be fun. I'm excited. Yeah. So, you guys, how many kids do you guys have?
One, two. What is it? 4.
We have 4.
4?
Yes.
That's
Okay.
like easy math. We can do that.
Easy math.
Mm-hmm.
And you adopted the first 2?
First 2.
Okay. And then had 2 biologically.
Yep.
Or biological children.
Yep.
Cool. So, what made you guys want to adopt?
You go ahead. You start.
Circumstances, I would say. It's not something we really thought about before.
Yeah.
But after we were married for many years and not having kids, we were like, what are the options? And I mean, they were all laid out before us. And we just didn't ever feel like infertility treatments were for us.
Yeah.
It was really actually like one day we just woke up and we were both like, I think we should adopt.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We went to like different specialists and they both, and we had that weird, remember that one PA that came in?
Yes, I do.
And he was like,
I don't know if we should be talking about
It doesn't matter.
It's okay. We won't say his name.
He is not listening to this. There's no way he's still in business. He's been banned from talking to patients, but he was like the worst bedside etiquette. He pretty much came in, he's like, hey, the test came back, you'll never have kids. So you have to figure something
It
out.
was just
Really?
cut
was
and
like-
dry.
it was so-
We cried the whole way home.
Oh, I bet.
Like,
Yeah,
wow.
it was like, I'm like, dude, seriously? Like, it was so.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you better like look at adoption or something because you're never going to be able to have kids.
Didn't you say
Oh.
like, I have a sister that's adopted and
Yeah.
We were like,
Something
okay, cool,
is
but we
going
just let us process this first.
Yeah.
He's like, and just pay on your way out. Thanks for coming in. And it was like, it was seriously
check out at the front desk.
Okay. It was weird.
Yeah.
I mean, we found the guy for KSL anyway. I'm just kidding. You know, he was like a legit doctor.
You searched Craigslist?
Yeah, Craigslist and we found this guy.
No one's
And we-
going to know if you're joking or serious.
we should have known that when it was an infertility in a van in a parking lot, that we should have been like, there's something sketchy.
Pulled up
Yeah,
with music
that was
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
and
it's like-
ice cream.
Yeah, it's like a food truck, infertility truck. And like, seems catchy. Like, why not? Like, they have tacos and infertility tests. So.
Oh my gosh.
No, it was like a legit doctor. It was like a legit. We went to a couple of specialists, and they all just pretty much said, "The odds are against you." We looked in Vegas. The odds are not going to happen. You're not.
The odds are not
Yeah,
in
it's
your
not.
favor.
It's not in our favor.
No.
So they just took us a little bit like to mentally process that idea of like, all right, we're probably gonna have to look at doing like something. And we wanted kids, and we were asked by everyone if we were having kids.
It's true. Erin had the best answer after like 5 years of people asking,
'Cause we're like
how long have
young-
you been married?
Yeah, we're like young.
Yeah,
Like,
oh, I'm
do you
sure,
guys-
especially here.
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
much outside pressure. It
Oh,
was so
it's the
crazy.
worst.
Oh, I'm
So
sorry.
finally Erin started telling him.
We're like, we're saving for a boat. So, and they never knew what to say. Like they were
They
always
just ended
like,
every conversation.
and
They're
they'd
like,
be
oh.
and, yeah. And we were,
Sorry.
anyway.
Hi, babe. Okay.
Did you just say it?
Yeah. She's going to have to call her dad. I'm sorry. They called 3 times, and I was trying to decline, and I accidentally answered. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean...
You're totally good. So
This is how this podcast is going to go.
Yeah,
Yes.
sorry.
So awesome.
I didn't even hear what that sounded like. She said, "Can these strays come home with us?" Yes, that's what we had told people. Like we were saving for a boat, and the longer, and they would always freeze up. They didn't know what to say,
Right.
and then we usually just say, "The longer we save, the bigger the boat." And then people just left us like they didn't know, like they were like stunned, and they didn't know what to say, and they would just.
I like that.
And they would like leave.
best.
They could like you could feel them judging us, and it was like, it was great. And you just like they walk away. They're like, those people
Oh,
don't
yeah.
even understand. I'm like, we don't understand.
No.
So
That's funny.
It's hard to be in that spot
it's
because
the worst.
Because
Yeah.
I adopted 4 times too, so it was like
Yeah.
here in Utah, it's like horrible if you don't have kids within like a
Yeah.
4-year period.
Yeah, because you're
Yeah.
like you are like the worst person ever, and like what's
Right.
wrong with you? and then like as like an adult in that phase, like you don't understand why it's not. Because then you see
Yeah.
like other people, they're like, I like, I barely met this person. I got pregnant. Like, you didn't even like, what? Like, we just walked in a hallway passing each other and someone got pregnant from that experience. Like, okay.
I liked when they said, God really must have wanted it to happen.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Like they were,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like,
Yeah.
well, just it's God willing. Like, I don't
Yes.
think God, like, whatever. Like, I don't think,
Yeah.
I don't think
he
yeah.
willed you to be the parent. I think we've seen what you've done with your own life. I don't think. No. So yeah, that's always a tough. That was a tough thing to be, especially in this this world here. There's like a lot of judgment, and a lot of people who just feel like, well, like if you were righteous, if you were good, if you're good people, then you would just do what's right. You're like, okay, sure.
Yeah.
So
for our viewers that probably don't know, when we talk about this world here and oh my gosh, it's got to be so hard, especially being here.
Yeah.
We're talking about being in Salt Lake.
yeah, the Salt Lake
Or
area,
Utah.
like the Salt Lake
Yeah,
area.
it's just there's
a lot of families that start out young. You know, a lot of
Yes.
people like they start out families pretty like people get married young and like so
Yeah.
so and then the natural process is like people start families when they're younger typically than in other
young 20s.
I
Like
grew up in back east and like
Yeah.
we got married when we were really young and like my buddies weren't like married yet. And
Wait,
so
you won an award.
I did. We went back to my high school reunion and they were like
This is a 20-year reunion, right? Was it 20
reunion.
year?
And like congratulations on
He
being the
won
first
2
married.
awards.
No, I'm just kidding. It wasn't that.
No.
It was
He
What-
had been married the longest and had the most kids.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's so funny.
Like,
And
that's-
we had 4 kids.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah, they all looked at us like, what is like, and yeah, it was weird. But,
Yeah.
I have a 22-year-old, and a few of his friends have kids
Yeah.
already.
Yeah.
And I don't know. They seem so much younger
yeah.
than
yeah.
like even we were at that age. But
Right.
yeah.
it's people start young.
Yeah.
They skip like a whole portion of life.
They just
I
keep-
feel like.
they just keep
Yes.
going. Yeah.
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 So that's what. So I wanted just to explain it to the viewers that may not know what,
Sure.
what
Right.
we're referring to.
Yeah.
The
Happy
bubble
Valley.
we live in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you say you have 2 biological children too?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, so
Yeah.
the doctor was wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, he better be listening then.
I
If he
we
is
were
listening,
not planning on those.
We want a
I
refund.
mean, you're probably gonna lose his sponsorship. For this episode, but he doesn't know what he's talking about because it all did end up working, but then I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Who really does know? That's a good question.
It's
Yeah.
true. We like to say we had 2 planned adoptions and 2 surprise pregnancies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Totally.
it's just
Yeah.
how it
That's how it
worked.
worked.
Okay, so you both woke up one morning and thought, we want to
Yeah.
adopt. We're going to adopt.
Yes.
So where'd you start?
We went on website ebaby.com. And that is not a real website. So that's
So
not gonna
don't
work.
try.
Because you were looking for a deal.
Yeah, we're
Is
looking
that
for
like 2 for
how much
1.
do
They
you
wanted a
bid
baby
on
and a boat.
Well, he told all the people he was going to get a boat.
I
Yeah.
know.
So
You
we
have
just
to-
we looked on different websites. That is not gonna. We just like try to do some research, and
The first thing we did, I went to the HR department at my work because I was working at a hospital. And the first thought I had that morning, I literally sat straight up in bed. And I wish every decision in life could be like this.
Yes.
But it was just like, I think my work has an adoption benefit. And I'm like, where did that come from?
Right.
And what is an adoption benefit?
Right.
I felt so silly. Like at lunchtime, I like have my scrubs on. I like walk into HR. I was like, is there an adoption benefit with our insurance? And they were like, oh yeah, there sure is. And I was
Oh
like,
my gosh.
what?
That is so neat.
It
Tell me
was
about it.
Amazing. Yeah, it was so crazy. So yeah, they were just like, if you adopt, you just get money. And I was like, what? Like not a lot, because
Right.
Any
adoption
bit is helpful, I'm sure.
anything
Oh,
is
yeah,
helpful,
for sure.
especially when you're young and just starting out and like we didn't have like careers off the ground. We didn't
Yeah.
like we were just, any option seemed impossible.
yeah.
Infertility treatments were so much money. Adoption was so much money. So just
Yeah.
like having that little bit of like push, like just a little help, I was like, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So what did we do after that? Looked at different agencies.
we just tried to do some research and just try to like look around, and I think we tried to find people who had gone down that road.
Yes.
And then just like so when you start to look, I mean, there's a part of your brain called the reticular activator, which is like that gives you awareness of like different. So like if you're training for a marathon, you hear other people who are training for marathons.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
when you buy a car, you also see that car on the road everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so,
So
we were
true.
like in the mode of like, we're thinking about adoption. Like all of a sudden adoption started coming up.
Popping up
Yeah.
all over.
Like you started hearing conversations, started seeing stuff, and other people like, oh, well, like these people and these people, and you just like start to find stuff. So I just I don't even remember like all the different directions, but there's just a lot of
can't
stuff
either.
that
I
started
do
coming together.
remember the baby Nazi.
Oh,
Remember her?
This is gonna be good.
Making lots.
Yeah, we gotta hear more about this.
She was the worst. I forgot about her.
The agency we went with, she was like the front desk
Yes.
person in charge
So
of
it's like,
everything.
It's like the soup Nazi from Seinfeld.
It was. It was.
No soup for you.
Yeah.
Yes,
No
it
baby
was
for you.
no baby for
you.
you.
No baby for you.
Oh my gosh.
So we would turn papers in and she'd look at like, no baby for you. And then she'd like, well,
That's what
I
it
think-
felt like. We were like,
it was like she
oh.
had like her desk and then she had a shredder next to it. And she would like, we'd turn papers in and she'd be like, she put in the shredder like, no baby for you. Like, well, we'll come back with another packet. And like, so we'd,
Basically, I felt like we were gonna have no competition because I'm like, who actually makes it past this lady
Right.
that
Right.
is
Right.
gonna be like putting themselves through this?
Exactly.
like a wall behind her. Like, these are all of our potential couples. There's nobody on.
Like literally
No
the
one could
first
get
time I
through her.
called, she hung up on me.
Yeah.
She said a couple words on the phone and was like, call me back when you know, and hung up. And I
Yeah.
was like,
Oh
And you're
my
like, I
gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
that was so crazy.
so what was that agency called? NoBabyForYou.com. It was. They were, I don't even know if they're around still. I'm sure she's still around.
She
So,
probably is.
Was it out of Utah?
no, yes, here in Utah.
Yeah.
Okay.
She was,
It
tough.
was.
She was tough. I
Yeah.
don't even remember we ever got an approved packet through that lady. Did we?
I don't know.
No, I think
I
we.
have no idea.
She's still waiting. We're still. We're almost.
We're gonna call you in a few days.
We're getting close.
Say we have a baby for you.
There's like, they
Yeah.
had, I just remember they had like so much stuff, and there was like, then they had like random weird stuff, and it was just
Yeah.
so hard to
Just
try
the
to get
approval process. You guys know. There's
Yeah,
all the
it's-
paperwork, all the classes,
lot.
How
all the.
long do you think it took you?
It took us a year from when we started.
I think that
But-
that sounds about right.
But we had a
But
lot
it
of family
also-
stuff going on.
But then all
Yeah.
of a sudden, we started, but then all of a sudden, like in December, we like blew through everything
Yeah.
like super
we
fast.
just felt this push to
We're
like,
you know what? We're just gonna get it done. Like, let's get it done in 2 weeks. And
Yeah.
so like there's like that.
and we'd
moment-
had it for a year.
We'd had
we were
it.
like
and we've
just
been like playing around with it. And,
yes.
yeah.
like we were like,
yeah.
doing
We
all
were
of
flying back east for Christmas, and we were like, we will turn this in
before we leave.
before we get
go.
on the plane.
Yeah.
So yeah, we did
So
that.
were there's like what, 3 packets? Or how many packets
don't-
were
I
there?
don't know.
I mean, our oldest is 18,
This
so
is for-
I
okay,
don't
so this
even
is a minute ago.
Oh, yeah.
But there was
Yeah.
home
No, I
studies
get
too.
that.
So you had
Yeah,
to people
home
come out to
home
your
study.
home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we had
So
to do like
it takes a while.
classes, like all the stuff.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, but once we decided like we're really gonna do this, like we did it.
And we pushed through and just got knocked
Yeah.
out fast.
It's true. It just seemed daunting, seemed
Oh, yeah.
overwhelming.
It's overwhelming.
I know.
All
Yeah,
the
and
questions.
you're like angry because you're like, no one else has to prove themselves.
Yeah.
Like, why am I having
then-
background checks and
It
doing
just
all?
felt like there were
but
so many questions, and, it
Yeah.
felt like, and you didn't know how to answer it because you're trying to. Do I answer it like how someone would like to see it, or do I
Right.
answer how?
Exactly.
and so much
Like,
of it was like
truthful.
parenting
Oh, that's so
style.
hard on
Yeah,
I'm
what's
like,
your parenting
I don't know my
style?
parenting
If,
style.
if your
I've never
child
been a
is
parent.
13
Yeah.
to come home and they like, oh, it's a Thursday, but it's humid outside, but they just like, I don't know what I would do in that scenario. Like, but just think like you have like food on the stove, but you have to leave. And like, 17 is the, I don't know what the answer is. So but it felt like they were like asking all these different scenarios, and it was like, and I just remember like even the home study, like they like came out and they did like the home study, and we get back and looked at it, and he's like, and we read like the
What he
back is
wrote.
like, it's like a little bit dangerous backyard with barbed wire. I'm like, that's a chain link fence.
It's not barbed wire.
But it's like, I'm like, barbed wire. Like,
There's
what?
a big like
yeah, like just
topper
Yeah,
on
on
that.
top of
No,
it,
there's
so no one
not.
can escape.
And they came through and they're like checking to see how safe it. Like, dude, we don't have babies yet.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
so why
It's
are you
not
why-
baby proof?
like,
Yeah, why are
you have like
My
bleach.
counter spray is under my counter
It's
right
like,
now.
that's
I'm
a little
sorry.
dangerous. Like, we don't have a baby.
Right,
Like, oh my gosh.
Oh.
So there's like weird judgment on that. 'Cause I'm like, dude, of course our house is a baby proof. There's not a baby in here, at least that I know of. And then that was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
Home stays are always fun.
Yeah.
well, it's like fun having like a random stranger come in
Yeah.
like, with a
Looking
clipboard.
at all your
you.
closets.
Yeah.
It's
Clipboard.
like
Right?
I'm not gonna really
No.
judge you, except really judge you.
Yeah.
writing everything
Except like
down.
really, really judge you a lot.
Well, there was LDS Social Services actually would measure how far the distance was between like the bathroom and the bedroom that the baby was going to be in. Literally measurements. Yes, crazy.
Oh my gosh.
So
Yeah.
Crazy
So
stuff.
wild.
So, I mean, because a lot of stuff with the home studies agency can dictate. I mean, there is laws that we have to go by, but some stuff they can just throw in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If what
That's
they
true.
deem as a
Yeah.
priority or not.
Right.
So then,
It's
I
wild.
apologize.
No, you're good.
The application process was about a year, right?
Yeah.
How long till you?
So that's the cool part. So we found out that within days of when we turned our paperwork in, our daughter's birth parents got pregnant, like right then.
Right around the same
Stop
time.
it.
So it was like 9 months from when we turned our papers in.
Oh, that's
Oh my
really
It was
gosh.
cool.
crazy.
Pretty bad.
That's so cool.
Did
Yeah.
you guys have to put together a profile?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
How was that process?
It was back then, it was so restrictive. Like literally you had
Yes.
2 pages, like a front and back that had some pictures
Yeah.
and a letter, and that is it. Like there weren't
Oh, I
websites,
cannot
there
even
weren't
imagine what
videos,
So
there
it was
weren't.
Like, it was so
I was like,
restricted.
I can't even pick someone in our own family to put in our will in case we die
Yeah.
or we
Yeah.
know them. I'm like, how do you pick from
so true.
4 pictures and 1 letter?
Yeah.
and that was all before Chat GPT. So like you had,
You had to write your
Do all
own.
that.
You have to actually do it
like I
yourself.
couldn't go Chat GPT.
So
like
dumb.
we're an adopted couple. We want to get a baby. Write the most compelling letter and make us look really cool.
We don't
Make
have
us
all the birth
Barbara.
mothers love us.
Make
Okay,
us-
now you're bringing up a whole bunch of
Like,
questions.
make
Now
us-
we're gonna have to watch. What
Make
people
us
come
look
up
like
with.
as
Yeah.
cool as James Bond, but like a good family man. But like yeah.
Oh,
Now,
man.
now we're gonna be thinking all the things that come through.
You're
right?
like,
From
did you write this?
ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Oh my
Who's
gosh.
the author?
How do
Yeah.
we
This
verify
letter.
this?
Yeah.
There's a website for that too.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. But we're not going to tell people that. No. So did you guys go through LDS services then?
We
For
did.
the first one
Mhm.
Yeah, and the second.
and the second? Okay.
Yeah.
For both
Yeah.
of
I
them.
mean, but we've kind of found the second one.
We
through, like,
did. We
connections and
found
stuff.
they did our paperwork basically
Okay.
Yeah, they
when we
facilitated
found
the
each
process,
other.
but we kind of found that we went through that
Yeah.
process and yeah.
Our friends and family found them
Like that,
because
when-
we
at
had
the,
like
the grocery store, like that
Yeah.
little picture with the little tear off numbers.
Instead of doing a profile, you just
You
did a
just-
few of those.
Put
Just
it there.
those and-
Stapled some of those on
so-
there.
and then it just said lost baby. Never had one, but we're looking for it. And so then people like pull the little card. No, we actually had some connections and so
Yeah.
it worked out. Some good referrals that helped us on that.
yeah.
That's
That's good.
awesome.
Mhm.
And then were you guys surprised when you got pregnant with your first?
Yes,
Oh,
because we had
totally.
just.
Like, how did that experience go?
Ooh, I'll tell the part that stands out to me.
Yes.
Is that like with that agency, you had to wait 1 year. I don't know if that's with every agency.
After you,
After
you get a
before
baby.
you turn papers in again, and they were limiting you could only adopt twice, and so we were like waiting for that year to come because we're like, we love this so much. Like we had amazing like experiences with our kids' birth parents, and we
Yeah.
had created open adoptions, and just were like so fired up. We're like, let's do this again. And anyway, so we were like getting ready to like start our paperwork, and he left to work one day, and while he was gone, I called the agency just to be like, hey, like what do we need, because it was like a couple weeks before the year mark.
Yeah,
And I was like, just gonna anyway. So he came home from work that day and was like, guess who I called today? And he had called the agency too. We both separately.
We called.
And I was like, we're getting a baby. Like, we totally are, because there's no coincidences
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
adoption, and
Yeah.
it's happening. And then a couple weeks later, I like found out I was pregnant, and I was like, what? Like, we've been married almost 10 years. And anyway, Aaron was so funny. He
I'm like,
ran
who's the father?
whatever.
I'm just kidding. I didn't say that.
Whatever. Yeah.
That's usually the post I put on people's like on Facebook when they're like,
When they're
we're
like,
having a baby. Like, who's the dad? Post.
question
Good
mark.
question mark. Just to see how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well received. People love it. A lot of good hearts and smiley faces. on that
Yes.
one. Yeah.
My face hurts.
I know.
Yeah. So, but like when she said, like, what did you say something? Or I can't remember how that.
You were on
Yeah.
the
How did you
phone.
tell him?
I came in, I had one of the tests that like said the word
Yeah.
pregnant.
My husband makes me buy those every time
he
because
was
he's like,
on
I
the
don't believe you until I
phone.
can read it.
In the basement on a
remember.
work call, and I'm like putting it in his face. It was like, he's like, what? And like he gets off. He went to the store and bought one of every brand.
I'm
My
like,
husband right there.
And then I took all.
we took- I'm
Everyone
like,
was
like,
right,
we-
and
like,
then
that
I was
could
like,
be- it says like 0.1%. Like, it could not
yeah,
be
that
true.
was us because I was like, I
It's
don't
not
believe any of
100%.
it. I was like, I need someone to take my blood.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want
yeah.
the doctor to take blood, and I
Mhm.
want to know like what is happening right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy, but anyway, it worked out.
I love that.
So then, what is the space between your kiddos? Is it?
Ooh,
It's about, I mean, they're all about 2 years.
about 2 years.
Oh my gosh!
There's
Well, that kind of
like-
is. There is no
yeah.
coincidences.
It's
No.
crazy. I know.
I mean, like number 2, number 3 are the closest. They're
Yeah.
about 18 months.
19, yeah,
19 months, something
close
like that.
enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're all about 2 years apart.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
so
How did
cool.
your process go? Was it to adopted or was it adopted, biological?
No, 2 adopted. So
Yeah.
like our
So two
first,
adopted. Okay.
we had our first, and that was like super cool. I mean, it's a very emotional experience, and it's
Yeah.
super cool. Like I still, I mean, there's like a lot of like highs in that process, and that was a cool experience. Like meeting the birth parents for the first time. They were just young kids. When our daughter was born, it was 3 days before they started their senior year of high school.
Mhm.
And then she actually like had the baby, placed their baby, and then like she was off to she
Like went to school.
went to school. Like she started
Oh my
her
gosh,
senior
like-
year of high school.
Good for her.
Bounce back in.
So
Yeah.
like we got to know, it was weird because we didn't know how open you could be, and we were coming from a
Caseworker that
caseworker. It was like his last
never
case.
had open
It
adoptions
was his last
ever.
case
Right.
before he was
Really?
retiring.
Yes, we were his
No,
last
yeah.
placement.
Well, LDS was very close.
Yeah, everything was
so
closed.
He had
Yeah.
decades of experience,
Yes.
but then all of a sudden we come along, and we're like, "Hey, they want to go on a double date with us." He's
And
like,
he's
"What?
like,
What?
Don't tell them
Don't
your
tell
last
them
name.
anything." So the
Don't
first
tell
thing
them where you live.
so we get in
We're
the
like,
car.
okay.
The first thing is, "What's your last name?" Like,
McDonald.
I don't remember. I don't know. I don't think I have my ID with me. Like, I don't.
Oh man.
So we're like,
So
gosh, they're
crazy.
like asking us like questions, like they want to know us. Like, I don't know.
What do we do?
Which
So
is so funny now looking back.
we,
We're
but
like,
we didn't know.
we
Like,
didn't have guidance. Like,
Yeah.
we were trailblazing this brand new
Mhm.
thing that no one in charge could help us with. 'Cause
Right.
We
They're
were
like,
like,
don't be too open, but you should talk to him. Like, okay.
about what?
Yeah. And so
That's right. Don't give any specifics.
yeah, don't be
Yes.
just
Yeah.
talking generalities. And
Right.
so we just like, let's just talk about the weather some more, shall we? But
It's so funny.
I work with birth moms, and
Yes.
we had a really young birth mom. She was 16, and her adoptive family was coming in. And, with birth moms, you kind of waver back and forth with, like, I think I might want an open, but maybe I should do closed.
Right.
Because they don't know where,
Yeah.
they're
no
so
one knows.
confused at this point. But anyway, they're like, let's meet. And, we'll kind of coordinate a lunch, but make sure that still things stay pretty unidentifiable.
Yeah.
Well, I'm halfway through. We went to Dave and Buster's, and they brought their little kids, and I mean, they were planning like every kind of activity and event you could think of, the adoptive family and the birth mom.
Okay.
And I'm sitting there going, I was so scared. I was so scared because,
Yeah.
we hadn't decided the openness yet, you know?
Right.
And they're planning everything.
Oh, I made a few phone calls in the corner, and it all worked out. Everything worked out. But even if you have blazed that
Right.
trail many times before, there's
Yeah.
always these like right turns
Yeah.
that you don't expect. And
Yeah.
I just remember thinking, this could be it for me.
I'm gonna
So-
get
I'm tired.
But that's scary. It's a scary.
It is
That's
so
scary.
scary.
moment.
super scary.
Oh, that's awesome.
Here's my job.
I could totally. Like she's like, I want to drive home with them, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Did she drive home with them?
no.
Oh, good. Because I'm like,
She's like, yeah.
okay, that's where you need to
I love
draw
that.
the
Oh
line.
yeah, no, it was like the most. It's hard.
would be
It's
hard.
so
Yeah.
hard because
So
it is
hard.
so natural to want to be so close to these people.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
they're giving you something that you just want to,
Yeah.
you know,
You want to do
You're so-
you want
everything
to
for
do
them.
everything you possibly
You're
can for
so
them.
grateful. And
Yeah.
there's so much, and there's like a lot of connection there.
Yeah.
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 Oh, for sure.
So true.
It's tough.
Funny.
Yeah. I'm sure it was. How is your first adoption differ from your second?
Not very,
Really?
actually.
Well, I mean,
I
like the
mean-
experience is a little. I mean, how we
Well,
ended
it's-
up with our second is different.
Yeah.
But like, and they're just different personalities and they're different families, but
Yeah.
they're still like very open and
All of our birth families feel like our extended family.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
nice.
Like our youngest always calls them our cousins. He's like, when are we getting together with the cousins? And when are the
Aw.
cousins coming to eat? And like for us, it's just like a big family. But I
Yeah.
feel like they've been both like our sons and our daughters' birth families have been so great to include us in their lives.
they're
That's
so
really
good,
cool.
including our other kids too.
Yes.
Oh.
So they're
Like
super
they bring
good.
them all Christmas gifts. They bring them all birthday
So
gifts.
so
they
it's
like
really good because it's not like
And they come to you?
yeah, they come to our
yeah.
house.
Or
That's
we
so
go together. Well,
nice.
I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
or we like
Like, we
meet
go to their
somewhere,
places
or
and
like,
and we get together
Yeah.
throughout the year.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
I love
really,
that.
it's really awesome. I just all the time, I'm like, how do we get these two amazing families? Are like,
You really did
it's
luck out.
so
Yeah.
Like,
amazing.
that is
yeah.
so,
yeah,
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah, I think that's one of the hardest things about adopting multiple children
Yeah,
is you're not sure how the birth parents are going to be
I
for each
know,
one,
I
and you
know.
want what's best for both kids,
yeah,
you know, and you hope that they can have
Yeah.
a similar experience.
totally like some equality.
Mhm,
Because I was
exactly.
like, what if we never ever saw like, so like for us, like when we were getting ready to turn papers in for the third time,
Mhm.
we were like, we have to have an open adoption.
'Cause
Right.
that's-
It's
it would
no
be-
longer an option
because
for
the-
us to
the
have
third
one
couldn't.
closed
Right,
and two
then two
open.
Yeah,
There's no way we could have done that.
Yeah.
That
Like,
would have been hard.
where in the beginning we were like checking every box or like close, semi,
yeah, whatever,
whatever,
Mhm.
open, we don't care. Like,
Mhm.
but I was like, oh, now we have like have created this family that like we need
Yeah.
to like be able to
Add to it.
add. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I get that for sure. I'm a birth mom. I don't know if you guys know that.
That's
Oh,
so
I'm a birth mom,
awesome.
so
oh my gosh.
yeah.
Cool.
And my birth son, he's 11,
Uh-huh.
and he actually lives right down the street, and so I have a really
No
good
way.
open relationship with him too.
That's super
so
cool.
super cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
So when I hear you guys say
I've
that, it
loved
just makes me happy because
oh my
I
gosh, yeah.
I love my relationship with his parents and
Yeah.
with him. And my husband and I actually got married and he was a birth father, and we got married
What?
and had
Oh, wow.
4 other kids together.
Wait, that's
wow.
our oldest is the same way.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
When
they
he
kept
told me
dating,
that, I was like,
they have 4 more kids. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Oh my
they
gosh.
ended up getting married, and then
Yeah.
our second, our boy, he has a full blood sibling,
Full biological sibling.
full biological,
And
Yeah.
then 2 half siblings.
Yep.
okay.
And it's so fun. I just I like them, like our kids to know like where they came from and who they look like and
Yeah.
all the people that love them. And it's just so much better than like making up your own stories of like, I wonder how I ended up in this family. Like,
Right.
because then you start telling your stuff things that aren't true.
Mhm.
And it's just so much better when everyone's in your life and you can
Yeah.
like be like asking the questions and like getting feedback and feeling
Yeah.
the support. And yeah, it's been really cool.
Good. I'm so glad.
Yeah.
I
it
agree
makes
with
me
you.
happy.
I think open adoption is the best option, in my
Yeah.
opinion. I know it's different for everyone, and I know there's
Yeah.
different circumstances for sure.
Right.
But I mean, I say this almost every podcast, but I initially wanted to close adoption because I
Yeah.
wanted to just like close that chapter of my
Yeah.
life, move on
Yep.
from Ryan. It's been 12 years now.
Yeah.
But yeah. But the adopted mom came to me. She's like, I really think we need to talk about doing an open adoption.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, I'll think about it.
Yeah.
And she came to me with all of, the positive and how I can get to know him and we can have a relationship and we can all be family. And I was like, okay, I like that. And
Yeah.
I'm so glad that it turned
That's
out
cool.
that way
yeah.
because now he
So
has 4
awesome.
siblings.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
So they're all super close and we get to see him. He's actually coming to
So
my
nice.
son's soccer game tonight.
Oh,
That's so fun.
Yeah.
I love that.
So yeah, I agree.
It's
I'm
very cool.
I'm grateful for open adoption
Yeah.
because even 11 years ago, closed adoption was still
Yeah.
where a lot of people pushed me.
Yeah.
Interesting.
to do.
That is really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's fun. My sister also, she adopted, but
Okay.
she got pregnant right like 2 months after she adopted. She got pregnant.
really?
So they're
Wow.
only
Like so close.
10 months apart.
Oh, wow.
So
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wild.
so crazy. But I think it's so cool that you adopted and had biological. How's that parenting?
I mean, you have your favorites.
That's what I was asking. I just want to know which one's your favorite and stuff.
Would they have to sit on their sides of the table? Like, so you're like different size presents at Christmas, but they know how that works. They
used to
understand.
it.
Some get more chores than other ones, but it's like that's just how the deal works. I guess that's just what they signed up
That's
for.
real life.
That's reality.
Oh my god.
No, I mean, like, I think it's like they're all the same. Like they're
Yeah.
just.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all completely different.
But
But
yeah,
never in our minds are we like, you are my biological children and you
Yeah.
are my like I don't ever think of that.
They're
Right.
They're just our kids.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
their personalities are so different. Like
So
everyone,
different.
all four of our kids are
Yeah.
so different from each other.
Like the oldest two, I totally get. They're like kind of homebodies, kind of artsy. I was like, oh, I resonate with that.
Yeah,
that's
that's
totally
me.
me. And then like our third oldest is like has all the friends in the world and loves to play sports. And Aaron's like, okay, yeah, totally. I get that. I was like, whew, good thing we're both here. 'Cause-
Yeah.
What about the fourth?
And fourth, like who knows?
He's-
They're so busy with the other three.
He bounces back and forth between all of those things. So he's just all over. He's always been the wild card.
Yes, he has.
That's not my fourth.
I know. I was going to say, it must be the last child.
I know. Do
Yeah.
you feel like if they came first, they would have been the last?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Oh,
this
so
Maybe
would have
that's
been
why.
it.
Maybe that's
right
why.
here.
He was,
Yes.
he is the hardest.
He's very
Oh,
difficult.
He tests everything.
Yeah, he does.
Oh, that's my youngest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to sit in preschool for 45 minutes yesterday. So that's fine.
Yeah, ours got kicked out of second grade 3 times.
Yeah. He's headed that way. So I'm just preparing myself. Yeah.
It's got to be something with the young. I don't know because don't tell him not
I neglect
to do
him the
something
most,
because
maybe.
that's the first thing he's
Yeah.
going to go and do.
Yeah.
Don't touch the hot stove. Turn your head. He's right there.
Yeah. Oh, this?
Yeah.
Don't touch that?
Yeah. The vacuum tips over. Don't put your hand in there. And he's like, okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, you put your hand in there. So let's see.
Yeah,
what
let's see what
happens.
happens.
And then you probably wouldn't do it.
That's so funny. Yeah.
Well, do you guys have any advice for adoptive families that are going into adoption? Sorry. How do I word that?
They're starting out the
They're
process.
starting out the process, and then people who also are adoptive parents with older kids, because you guys have older kids. What some advice that you could give to them?
Yeah, good luck. Just kidding. I mean, like, I think going down the road, like, it's like there's just a lot of uncertainty, and there's a lot of, and it's natural to like to look at the worst case scenarios on stuff.
Oh yeah.
But like that's, and like I think like anything that's worth anything is going to have some sort of uncomfortable to get to it.
Mm-hmm.
And so as you're going down that road, it's just like there is going to be uncomfortable, but the payoff is huge, and there's some amazing benefits from it. And like to think of our lives without our first two would be so weird. Like it'd be such a weird world without them. And we had one of our adoptions, like we had an adoption between the first and second that fell through.
Mm-hmm.
Like we were like thought it was all going to go through, and it was like did not. Like it like that was like heartbreaking. And so that was, and then you kind of think, oh, this is the worst. But then like just 3-4 months later, then we get our second. Like so it all worked out in the end. So but it's like sometimes time is so weird because it's like you look at the current present state and you think, this is the worst. Like no one else has anything as bad as I'm going through. The hardest thing. Everybody else is so easy for everybody else. This is so hard. And you just like your hard becomes so hard that it's like almost insurmountable. And then you look back on it like, it wasn't that bad. Like it was bad at the time. Like it was the hardest. Like those there were some late nights and lots of tears and tons of heartbreak and there were some like long processes to go through it, but then you look back at it and you're like, oh well, we made it through that.
It seems like no time at all.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
it's
Like,
like,
oh.
it sounds crazy because
Yeah.
it's like, but it's all, it's like you kind of paid the price and it's all worth it. Like the hard work pays off in the end.
Yeah.
But that's like that. But there's so much hard work to get into the. I think that's kind of a vetting process. So a lot of people they get weeded out because they want. And we live in a world that is like the push of a button stuff. It shows up at your house within a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you look for like instant results and like what's the quickest route to. But like there's nothing with adoption that's a quick route. Like nothing is fast. And and then you have to like build relationships and you're trying to build connection with people. And then it's natural that you're starting to like be super judgy about yourself. Like, well, I'm not even like good enough why would somebody pick me? And like, why would somebody pick us? And like I don't know. Like, there's like a lot of like stories that you start to tell yourself in that process.
Oh, for sure.
And like the fear that we always had was if we have an open relationship, at least this is my fear, but if we had a really open relationship, as we got teenagers and we started to try to look at like disciplining them or like trying to be like, they'd be like, well, I'm just gonna go with my birth parents then. So like that was always the thought was like, they'd be like, listen, I'm not even your real kid anyway. So peace out. I'm not gonna go.
Yeah.
So the fear in the back of my mind was they'll just use that as like their ace in the hole to be like, you're not even my real dad. Like, I'm just gonna go over there because I can go. So that's always been something like, but that's never, like there was a couple of months ago that our youngest jokingly, well, it wasn't jokingly, but they got in a fight. He got in a fight with one of the older kids. And what did he say? He said something about, I can't remember how he said it, but he said something about like you're adopted or like, what did he, like, did he say
They
something
say
about?
like you're not my real brother.
Oh, you're
or
not my
something
real
like
brother.
that. And that's like the first time anything has ever happened
And it
like
was
that at
like-
our house.
And
And
like
we were like,
all the kids.
Yeah, everyone was like, no.
all the kids were,
everyone was bawling. All the kids.
Oh,
we were like, why
the
would you
older kids,
say
like
that?
they're so mad at him for like, and he just
It's
gets
crazy.
he gets like super emotional and
I
he's like
know.
weird.
And I
like-
don't even know if he was like connecting that, like
Yeah.
how mean that would come out. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
But then he like,
I'm sure he didn't.
but no, he
I
was
don't
super
think
Yeah.
he
young,
even
but, like,
thought that,
Yeah,
you
I don't
know?
either.
But he saw like how like painful it was for everybody else.
Yeah.
And then like how upset everybody else was with him. And he's like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. Like
He was like, oh,
Yeah.
I
I
messed
like,
up.
I said something that's
Over the
other than that, like it's like everybody, like, we've always had like a really good, like all the kids have been, and I think the other time what's hard is like with our other kids, like there have been times where they have felt like they didn't have as much, like they were like, because they're just stuck with just us as family.
Oh yeah, they like our seriously like our third oldest came home once from school and he had drawn this little picture with all these hearts and a family, and it was all spelled wrong, but it said, I am not adopted and I wish I was adopted.
Oh.
It was like, oh, that's so
Because he like felt like he
cute.
was like, because he saw like how
So
much
cute.
love everybody, like the older two
Yeah.
siblings got from their
Right.
birth, like all this
Yeah.
extended family, and he's like,
Right.
well, I just got you guys.
I'm stuck with you.
Sorry.
He was like, felt like it
Oh,
was
that's
like,
so
Yeah.
cute.
It was so cute.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know. There's always just things you come across like as you're raising your family that I don't know. You just like, for me too, it's like, I don't like to be confrontational. I don't want to have those like awkward conversations. And,
Oh, yeah.
but like, if you like want a relationship with your birth families, like there will always be those times where it's like
Oh,
things
yeah.
are going along great. And then you come to a point where you're like, oh, they kind of want to do this, but like, that doesn't really work for our family and all of our kids. And like,
Yeah.
I don't know. So then you have to kind of like create like new boundaries and sometimes you're opening more doors and
Yeah.
you're just like trying to find your way. But like in the end, like when I think about our kids' birth families, I'm like, they're like my most precious like relationships in my life.
Mhm.
And I just like, if I hadn't worked to like make that happen, like I would never know. And it's not like it's perfect, you know, we're just making this up on both sides. Like we're just trying to
We're
figure
just
out a
making it
way.
work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so-
It's all new to everyone.
But it seriously are like my most treasured people are our birth families and their parents and their cousins and
my goodness.
just everyone that we know.
Do you go to the families? Like, say there's a decision
Yeah.
with the child. you go and make sure you're all on the same page?
No,
Yeah.
no,
Well-
no, like on.
Not if we're deciding stuff,
No.
but like,
Okay.
But like as far as like, but we will set boundaries around like
yeah.
You
the
have to.
relationship.
Like now
with,
that our daughter's older, for instance, like her birth family would really like her to come like spend time with them individually.
Mm-hmm.
But the only time that works for them is like on a Sunday but that's like our only family day.
Yeah.
Right.
So they would reach out to her and be like, hey, we want you to come on
And so
spend
she-
Sunday with us.
So
here.
she went once and we were like, oh my gosh, this is so crazy because
Like, we're
like
not
Yeah,
doing
it's like
that.
our
only
day.
day.
And
Yeah.
it's the only day he's home. And like,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
anyway, so then and then you feel so bad because you're like, oh, I just want them to have everything they want.
I know.
But it's like, that won't work right now.
No.
You know?
Well, and that's healthy though. To
Yeah,
say.
healthy
Sure.
boundaries
I
for
mean,
sure.
That's
Yeah.
the thing is like
yeah.
it's
They don't
it's
see
a, it's
it.
a
Like,
healthy
they're
thing.
just looking at what's in their best interest. Like,
Yeah,
they're just
Oh,
like,
yeah.
see it.
It's not like they're trying to be like,
No.
we're gonna go exclude her from everything that's happening there. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
not at all. Like, there's nothing. It's just like
They love her.
they
and
just want to
spend
see
time
her
with
and want to spend time with her. And we're like in this time right now where we're like, how do we make that happen with your schedules and our schedules? And
Mhm.
Yeah.
'cause they're just like everyone's busy now that they're
Yeah.
getting older. So I
And
don't
she's
know.
19 now?
She's 18.
18.
She's
Yeah, she's a
Yeah.
senior right now in high
Aw.
school.
Well, and you want
so
to take advantage of every time you
For sure.
guys
I
have one.
know.
Oh, yeah,
I
'cause
know.
it's their
So
last
limited
year.
time with her too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
And we're
important.
all feeling it.
Yes.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
gonna say,
I
you
bet.
were probably
Yeah.
second and third to the friends, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Friends come first too.
At that age.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
this
know.
is the stuff I think about too with my birth son
Yeah.
because I want him to know how much I love him,
Yeah.
but I also want him to know that I also respect his family life and
Right.
his parents and
Right.
him. And yeah, it's just all new
I
to
know.
everyone. We're
It's
all just
so
trying to
new.
figure it out.
I know.
Yeah.
It's so true. It's just a whole new world.
It is.
You're making up.
Yeah, right? I know.
Yeah.
But always putting the child first.
Yeah.
That's what both sides
Yeah.
want. So.
Mm-hmm.
Totally. Because
Exactly.
we don't want her to feel like she needs to like
Choose.
please them
Right.
or please us or choose
Mhm.
where to go. I was like, you don't need to be doing any of that. Like
No.
let us figure it out as adults and then we'll provide times where we can like get together.
together,
Like
yeah.
I
Make it
don't know.
work.
So yeah.
Yeah.
I
Open
think we need to have
communication.
classes
Yeah.
Yes.
On that.
Pro-
How to have a
probably.
healthy adoption
Yeah.
on both sides.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's so hard in today's world because so few people are gonna have awkward conversations.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
It's so
as
true.
people try to hold
Everyone avoids
people,
it.
People are,
Yeah.
Everyone I
they
know.
try to resolve stuff on text. They try
Yeah.
to
I
resolve
know.
stuff
Yeah.
on. It
I've
So
sent
true.
an email before to
Oh,
try
yeah,
and
you
clear
can't.
things up, and
It
I was like,
doesn't
that
work.
created
It
a
doesn't-
firestorm
yeah.
because I was
Emails
like,
don't work.
oh shoot, I
Text
tried to
messages
call,
don't
like,
work.
I know.
There's too much emotion in that. Like you
Oh,
have to,
yeah.
it has to be a phone call or it has to
Yeah.
be a
Well,
conversation in person because like the other technology things just don't.
Yeah.
It
Well, you
doesn't
don't
resolve
know.
it.
You don't know how to take it because that's what.
Yeah.
We
oh, yeah.
always-
We talk about that all the time. That's why we voice message each other.
Yeah,
Because we'll be
that's
like,
smart.
So
Way
we can
better.
hear our voices.
yeah,
Yeah.
what kind of
What
mood
should
we're
be
in right
addressed.
now. Like,
Yeah.
what should we actually talk about?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And because then that way you can tell how someone is really coming at you if they're upset or
Right.
happy or this
Yeah.
or that. You can't tell that out of the text.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can just take a text badly,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
So easy.
So
yeah.
it's
I
not
know.
hard to do my phone.
Yeah.
So.
I think
Yep.
it's mine. It's my,
Oh, okay.
my
I don't know. I
daughter.
just hear vibrating phones. So
It's probably both of them.
we both have two phones.
Yeah, so they're always going off.
Well,
One
that's
is
sweet.
going.
It's also hard because so many emotions play in on all
Mhm.
parts, and it's like you want to do what's right for everybody, and you want to make the child most important, and you also don't want your emotions to get in the middle of any of those decisions.
Right.
It's hard.
It's really hard.
It can be draining sometimes, but it's all
Yeah.
worth it.
Yep.
And that's any family.
Yeah.
Like any family member, there's always going to be hard conversations that have to happen
Mm-hmm.
if you want a strong relationship, you know.
Right.
And I think that was hard for me too. I've always been, we talked about this in the last podcast. I'm a people pleaser. And so I'm like,
Yeah.
I want to do whatever you want to
fixes this
do,
right
you know?
now.
Exactly. I'm like you. I don't like confrontation. So it's like,
Yeah.
if I know it's going to be something, I'm just going to step back.
Yeah.
But I also feel like I want my birth son to know that I do love and want to be with him and hang out with him,
Yeah.
you know? So it's a fine line for
Without
sure.
stepping over the bounds.
Right.
Lines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And setting those boundaries. So
I think you do a great job.
you're really nice. Have I had this piece of rice in my tooth this entire time? That's cute.
I didn't.
Did you guys
see
notice it?
I didn't
No.
even see
This,
I
it.
didn't.
this has been sponsored by Chef Boyardee. Uncle Ben's rice has been our sponsor
Minute
for today's
rice.
episode.
This
Minute
is,
rice.
this is my minute rice.
Minute rice.
Minute
Oh,
Thank you,
so it should be
sponsor.
doing this.
Yeah.
The sponsor of today's special minute rice.
Oh,
It could have
man.
been minute rice. I don't know.
It could have. They gave it to us in
Yeah, I know. It was like some
stuff you
weird
put in the
container.
microwave.
I thought
Yeah.
it was so good.
It
was so
though.
good.
It
I
was
know.
good.
We used
Yeah,
to go there in
Thai
high
food.
school all the
What's
time.
that?
We went and got Thai food.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Yeah, in between our
Between,
podcasts.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys cook your rice first to eat it? That's good. Good for you.
Yeah, do.
I just go raw.
Oh,
It's
do you?
like just tougher. That way.
Crunchy.
It's really crunchy.
Then you probably really get it stuck in your teeth.
Yeah, it's rougher that way.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, you guys really did. It sounds like you guys just lucked out. You know,
Yeah, I
with-
know.
I'm just sitting
For
here
sure.
reflecting on it and all the, all that I used to do correspondence for the adoption
Oh.
agency, so I saw a lot of the back and
Yeah.
forth.
Yeah.
And gosh, count your blessings. Like,
I
This
know.
is pretty idyllic.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I keep thinking, holy
Yeah.
cow, you're so
Well,
lucky. Like
two
you
in one
align.
family,
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like two,
Yeah.
not only like one,
Yeah,
but
but
two,
two,
and
right?
that you
crazy.
align enough
Yeah.
to where you can have, the discussions and not worry about necessarily like someone showing up if they want money or so, like there's all
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
different things.
Yeah.
And you just are you're really lucky.
I
It all
know.
happened for
It's so true.
a reason, right?
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
no
Very
coincidences.
blessed, yeah. Yep. Not an adoption.
Nope.
That's been good.
Does
Yeah.
not work
No.
that way at
Yeah.
all. That's one thing you learn quick.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not a coincidence.
So true.
It's all about timing. I did the same thing with the homestay. I put it off.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I
Just, like,
felt really
plowed
strong
through
to
it.
hurry and get it done.
Yeah.
And my daughter was ready to be I got her 3 weeks later.
No way.
Yeah.
That's wild.
That's
They just never.
Crazy.
That was our second. Like our second, we had got our profiles. We got our profiles together.
Yeah.
We were leaving out of town. I was going on. We had a cruise down in California, and then we had like a friend. Like it was her cousin that was like, "Hey,
It was both.
look, a cousin," and we had like a friend that we were both in a meeting, and someone said,
There were
"Hey."
like 4 people in the meeting.
And they-
two of them
Two
knew
of them
us.
were like knew us, and
What?
the person's like, "My
One was
niece is
like-
gonna have a baby,"
Yeah.
and she's like trying to, and like they're both like, "Oh, you gotta call these guys." And so
Yeah.
we, on our drive out of town, we dropped off our profile on some lady's
The ants.
doorstep.
doorstep.
It's amazing.
And
And we
we're
just
like,
like, wow, we'll see
we're
what
going on a
happens.
cruise. See you
So
later.
it was us and our daughter
Yep.
and my parents, and we drove all the way to California, and we went to Disneyland on a Saturday, and then Sunday we stayed with
Extended family.
Mm-hmm.
Like random extended.
and then,
Not even
like-
our extended family.
And then people got a hold of us. Like somebody called us
Like
on.
before cell phones. We
was
didn't
like-
even have
we
cell
have cell
phones.
phone. I don't think we have cell phones.
I don't
yet.
think we did.
And so then they tracked us down because we're leaving to go on the cruise on Monday morning
For a week.
for a week.
Yeah.
With like a bunch of my people from my work.
Mhm.
And they got a hold of us, and like it was actually the birth mom who's like, "Hey, I saw your profile and I want you guys to be the parents." And we're like, "What?" I'm like, we're so excited. And she's like, and she was in the hospital
Yeah.
Oh.
Like 6 weeks early.
6 weeks early.
Oh
She was
my
having the
goodness.
baby.
And
Right
she's
then.
like, I just want you to come home.
I just want you to
We're
be
like,
here.
Oh,
We're like,
Oh,
Done. What?
Oh my
so we
god.
booked flights and
for the next morning.
for like so us and our daughter
Yeah.
and my parents were like, "Good luck, hang out with my work people."
Yeah.
And they like drove our
Sent them
car
on the
back
cruise
to-
with our car.
So-
Oh
like
so
my
left
gosh,
them.
that's so
took
funny.
our vehicle, and then my parents went on a work trip, and then we flew home, and we just like we
Yeah.
got home the next morning, the earliest flights we could get back, and
Yeah.
went straight to the hospital, and
That was the best trip ever.
Ever.
and the
Right.
best part is everybody thought we were on a cruise, so
So we kept our blinds
Oh,
shut.
kept our
so
blinds
you
shut
had
at
a
house.
week.
Oh.
So we
Yeah.
were in the NICU
For
all
like
week.
10 days, right?
Mm.
Nobody knew that because everybody just thought we were gone, so nobody was bugging us.
Yeah.
Nobody
Yeah.
called us.
That's
So
nice.
we were doing almost all the feedings. Like
Yeah.
either here, I would drive down and like
Oh.
help feed
and we
him.
like
and
it was super cool.
It
It,
was
all
awesome.
It all worked out.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
So it sounds like that one you kind of knew like it wasn't going to go south, right? Like
yeah, we felt pretty confident in that
because
one.
like on that one because it's Sunday, she's like, "I want you."
Yeah.
Like, it's like, well, we've got a cruise tomorrow,
Yeah.
or we could book flights and come home. Like we could be there.
Right.
It's like, I want you here. I'm like, okay.
And we were like,
Oh.
All right.
okay.
Yeah.
We're booking
How
flights.
with your first adoption? What is that 24 hours like?
Oh my
I mean,
gosh.
24 hours in Utah.
The worst.
Well, we've had one fall apart.
But the first we
Within
should tell
that
the
time
first.
period, that 24 hours?
No. After.
Which one? The 24 hour?
Wait, no. Let's tell Avery's first, our
That's fine.
oldest. So I remember we kept all the blinds shut because we did not want to tell anyone because I was like, what if this doesn't work out? I don't
Right.
want to retell everyone that like this isn't happening. And
Right.
so
Yeah.
my mom knew, Aaron's parents knew, that was it. So we kept the blinds shut. And it was after she was born, right, that we were like, should we open the furniture? So we're like building a crib, like, but like with the blind shut because
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
don't want the neighbors to see the crib and be like,
don't throw out the box that came
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
totally,
Yeah.
keep the receipt,
Yep.
keep everything. And so we're like, I can't even believe we're building this crib. This is so
Aw.
crazy. Anyway, but it was like nerve wracking because we
I
we're
can't
like,
even imagine.
I don't know. And we, at that point, like we'd met them, we'd gone on the double date. They had us to like her parents' house, and then we went to his
Oh,
parents'
that's
house.
the
And we
one
had
where
like,
you guys were besties.
Yes.
Like,
But we met
Yeah,
them all.
we met them
But
all.
at the same time, like you just don't know.
Yeah, you
and,
never
and
know.
like you can tell how much they love her. I'm
Yeah.
like, how
Yeah.
are you going to do this?
yeah.
Like,
I can't even.
I can't even imagine.
Because you're like, I don't know.
It's just the strength of I can't even imagine it.
I know.
So
Yeah.
yeah, we were super nervous because I mean, I was like, honestly, they would be fine. Like if they had so much family
And
support and
tons of family support.
yeah,
Yeah.
Tons of like, and they had like,
Yeah.
And then when we brought her home, it was like
It was so fun.
cool. Like our neighbors like freaked out, and
My mom went over and decorated our whole outside with pink
Oh.
balloons, and so everyone was like, "What's
What?
going on at your house?"
Yeah.
And we had laid sod that day, and people were
Yeah.
like, "You're really excited about your
sod.
grass."
Like,
We're like,
the home study said we can't have a baby if we don't grass. So I didn't say that, but
Anyway.
we'd already planned to put grass in anyway. But it all
yeah,
worked out.
it just
time-frame
was
wise.
that morning. And
So we had
anyway,
grass, and then we had pink balloons, and we brought her home.
It
and
was
then
like an open house
It
for like
was-
4 hours.
Oh, I bet I
All
would
of our
freak out.
neighbors,
Just
All of our
the
neighbors
amount of
came
people
over.
coming.
Oh, I would love
so
it.
we had like this crazy day. It went to like it was like
Yeah.
super late at night. It was just all these people.
And she
and it was-
slept the whole time.
And
Everyone's passing around. Everyone's freaking out. They're so happy.
And then
And,
and then like the last people leave was like 10 o'clock at night.
shut the door.
And then right then her eyes opened up. She's like, "We're on."
Yeah, and we were like,
I know.
what do we do
She's
now?
like-
Our
and
whole
she's like,
lives.
we have to
I
go to
slept
bed.
all day. Let's do this. And we're like, whoa, wait, we want to go to bed now too. So, like, what just happened? And then she was like, "Let's play." And we're like,
Oh
"Oh,
my
no."
gosh, that was a
And I still remember
crazy
sitting
night.
I was like sitting on the couch at like 2 a.m. I just remember sitting and holding
We were
her.
like zombies.
But like,
Remember that weird bottle warmer we bought?
I don't
Someone
even
was
know.
like, we were doing research. They're
Yeah,
like,
oh,
you
yeah.
need this electric bottle warmer.
Yeah.
So she's crying. I'm waiting for this machine to make warm water. I was like, oh my gosh, like what is happening? It's
That's
so crazy.
I had a birth mom that had delivered. It was
Uh-huh.
within that 24-hour period.
Yeah.
And the baby was in the NICU.
Uh-huh.
She didn't want to see the baby,
Oh.
but she was very worried about the baby. So she said,
Yeah.
will you please go and get an update for me? Go see the baby, go,
Yeah.
get an update. So I'm like, absolutely. And I'm walking past, and the adoptive family was out in the waiting room.
Uh-huh.
And they were so fearful and scared. And
Oh.
when they saw me, they're like, why? What's going on? Does she want the baby? Does she want the baby? And I'm like, everything's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And that's all I said.
Yeah.
Everything's going to be okay. And they're like, you realize your name will be a swear word in our house. And I was like,
okay.
Like, don't shoot the
Mindy,
messenger.
you.
they were the nicest couple. They were
Except
the
that
nicest
day.
family. Well, no, it wasn't. I didn't. It didn't come across as like mean, but
Yeah.
it came across as like
Don't
they,
mess this
there
up.
was
Yeah,
just
don't
that
handle
like don't
one other
and the
thing,
fact
yeah.
that I said everything's going to be okay
Yeah.
was, that was even giving them too much hope.
Yeah,
and so I was like, oh my gosh, it's not going to be okay. I mean, I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to say to make them feel better. And at that point, I don't think anything would have until after everything was,
It's so hard.
But yeah, it was one for the books. I don't think I'll ever forget it. I was like, I never realized that my name would be a swear word. Like if I had said, you remember that? That would be referring to me.
She said Mindy, you.
Yeah, Mindy, you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's
I know
so
it's
funny.
so tough. I've seen it. I mean, even if the people are so sweet and so
Yeah, the emotions are as hot.
holy
is.
cow.
You're
So-
running hot. Like it is.
Yeah.
Like it
I
is.
was like stress cooking ground beef, like pounds and pounds of ground beef, because I was like, we're never gonna be able to cook again because we're gonna be so busy. And I was just like, why am I?
We went through all
neurotic?
these things. So-
Crazy.
But the one thing that I didn't realize, and like, with the one huge plus of like adoption versus having your own, like when like Sarah gave birth, is like you both come into the adoption like 100%,
Yeah.
like
Oh,
health
yeah.
wise. Like when
Yeah.
she like after she gave birth, I was like, oh no, you're not like.
It's
You're
on me.
right.
I don't know what to do.
Wait, you're not like you got to recover faster, because like in the adoption, like we're both like we got like a good night's sleep night before, and we're like coming into this like at full strength, like it's but like she came in like a phone on like red battery. It's like whoa,
You were only 30% or 3%.
yeah. She's like barely. It's like I'm like you got to charge faster. 'Cause it's like, we're,
We have 3 kids now.
yeah, like we're
Oh, yeah.
it's not good.
Yeah, that's so funny.
That's wild.
Man. So crazy.
It's good.
Life is crazy. So you guys said that you had a failed adoption.
We
Is
did.
that something you guys want to talk about?
Sure,
We can.
we can.
She's not watching, is she? I'm just kidding.
She's not.
She's not watching. I don't know how we got connected. It was
It was through the agency.
through the agency,
Yeah.
and we had we had gone down the open route. So we're like, whatever. Like we'll be.
Yeah, they're like totally
And
open.
so she had
Yeah.
she had other children, and this was just like
Two
two other
others.
kids, and then this is just like it was too much for her, and so
And she didn't have the family support.
the family
so
there was no family
Yeah.
support for like they did not.
because they'd already done this twice and they weren't going to do it
they're
a
like,
third
"Listen,
time.
we're done.
And
We're
Right.
not doing this anymore.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
so we kind of became her support. Like she would call. I just remember sitting in her closet. I talked to her for hours on the phone
tons
just
of
about
time.
everything in life. And like,
And we'd like
Yeah.
take her to doctor's appointments.
yeah,
we'd drive
whenever
around
she
and-
thought she was in labor, she'd call us. So we'd like take her to the hospital and it never was real. And anyway,
Yeah, it was. And then
she had the baby.
she had the baby.
We went and held the baby.
Mhm.
And then
It's a little. It was a little weird.
it was weird. Looking back, there were like some
Couple-
signs that I was like,
kind of different.
yeah, like she was joking with like the nurse about like what to name him. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's interesting. Anyway,
Yeah.
I don't know. So like wasn't the third day?
Well,
She
that
was in the
time that,
hospital for
so
2
they said,
days.
she was gonna get out until we had the placement set up to be
At the agency. That's where she wanted to do it.
So we went to the agency and
We had our car seat. We had
And
our
we-
2-year-old
we just waited for like
hours.
2-3 hours,
Mhm.
and they're like, and the worker's like, I don't know, we keep calling over, but like the HIPAA
There's
laws.
nothing.
Then after a while, like, dude, like forget HIPAA laws, like we're done. And
Because
then-
she
Yeah.
gave birth at the hospital I had worked at for
so then
5
we're like-
years.
so they wouldn't
Oh,
say
so you're
anything.
like, ugh.
So then we like Sarah just like
Yeah.
call
Yeah.
your people, like just like call
Yeah.
behind the scenes to
And I was like, I just needed to know if she checked out. And
Yeah.
she had checked out like
the day
2
before,
days or
like the day
before and
So
just
'cause
disappeared.
It just took
plan
the baby
was she
and
would,
left.
Like
Yeah.
leave the hospital and
Oh.
come straight. So we just thought she was like checking out,
Yeah.
yeah.
but and then we're like, no, she checked out yesterday. We're like,
And we were like,
okay,
oh, okay.
we're-
Probably
we're-
we should go
we'll
home.
go home.
Meanwhile, my
Oh,
mom had
man.
like decorated the house with all the blue
Oh.
balloons.
So
I'm
we
like,
pulled
take
to the
the
house,
balloons
and
down.
all these
I'm
balloons
so
up.
sorry.
Oh, man.
So crazy.
Yeah.
So it's like that
that's-
was like heartbreaking.
It was so hard. I boxed up all the baby clothes and I put them all away. I'm like, I can't even look at any of these. And honestly, like it was really, really hard. But for me, the hardest part was that I had felt like we were close.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's weird that she wouldn't feel like we were close enough for her to just tell me she changed her mind.
Yeah.
I was like, that's all you need to say. I'm not going to be like, you will give us this baby. Like, I'm never going to do that.
Right.
Like, it was so crazy because I was like, oh.
Like, I was like, that was
Yeah,
hard.
It
that
was
would have been
hard. I know.
so
I was
Because
like,
like, do you really think that little of us that you can't even
just say
Just tell
it.
us.
just tell
Yeah.
like, or even like write a note or like
Yeah,
just or
a
send
note,
or an
because
send
email.
a text to
know.
someone like,
Yeah.
hey,
Yeah.
no, or like
Let them
thumbs
know.
down or like whatever.
Yeah.
So we like seriously like walking out with that empty baby seat.
Oh, that would be.
And our toddler that's like, where's my brother? We're like,
Oh
oh
my
my
gosh.
gosh. Like, it was so crazy.
Yeah, that was
It
like
was
that
crazy.
was a low point in the process.
And then 3 months later,
Well, then we were so
did we
because
have
like
dinner?
everybody
that's why we booked the cruise.
we
Right?
we had
Weren't we like, we're out
no
of
we
here.
we were out of there. We left the next week.
Yes.
We booked
Yeah.
flights to go up. It's like, you know what, forget
Yeah.
it, because like everybody's like, because like we had built up all the anticipation. So
Oh,
we
yeah.
just, we just booked trip. We did book a trip to go back. Like we just left the next week, and we got home from our trip, and there was like a voicemail from her. On
No,
her
we
phone.
were at dinner. Your parents were out. Jordan was born. We already had adopted our second one. We were
Oh.
eating dinner.
This is a couple months later.
This is like
Oh, that
Oh,
she came,
so-
that adoptive mom or
she
birth mom.
called us.
No.
And we let it ring through, and she left this voicemail. And it was back when it was a home phone.
Oh, yeah, where
and
you
so
have to
the
press
voicemails
play.
like through the whole kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was like, "This is a lot harder than I thought, and I think I made a mistake. And
Oh,
can
Do
you
you
guys
want the
call
baby?"
me?" We were like,
We just hit delete.
I just
I just did. We just like,
no,
I'm
because
like, I
we
can't.
lost trust at
Like,
that
we just-
point.
yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like,
No,
I
it's-
Like
can't
at that
start
point,
over.
like
No.
I'm not gonna play in a world where like
Yeah, and your whole life is then connected to like,
to like
Exactly.
what, coming back
That.
6
I
months
was
later.
like-
I think
Yeah.
I made another mistake because I think that like no,
actually
lady,
maybe.
like
You're
you'll,
like,
you
no,
can you'll
sorry.
find somebody else who wants
Yeah.
to like play
Yeah.
your game. So
Yeah.
we just
Yeah.
weren't meant. We just emotionally we're just not ready for that ride. So.
No,
Yeah.
it's true. So yeah, that was.
But that was like, yeah. So
Pretty
then,
wild.
like our boy, like, so that was in June when that fell apart. Like June, like late. That was in June sometime, and then our boy was born in October. So that was
Yeah.
just
Oh
like,
my
Oh,
gosh.
so that's
not-
So it was meant to be.
Yeah.
Too long after.
No,
that.
Yeah.
That's good.
not too long. Yeah,
Oh, that phone call would have been a rough one
it was
to see. So did you see her
crazy.
name
Yeah,
on,
you see
on
her
the
name.
caller
It
ID?
said the name.
It
It
said
was
the name.
like
Oh.
call from,
Oh.
and we were like all eating. We're like, oh my god,
Yeah,
stop.
stop.
I know. That has been like quiet
What
few
now?
minutes.
Oh
We're
no.
not
Which is
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would be like, I would be angry that she was calling at that point. It's
I
like,
was-
yeah.
I was just like,
even
that's
think it's
not.
okay to call.
Plus, like the other piece of that whole thing was like the birth father was like a really bad person.
Like really high
Like
up
high
in
up
a
in,
prominent
like, a
gang
prominent
in
gang.
LA.
Oh,
Okay,
really?
so
we
I
kind
think
of
that's
were
what you
scared.
mentioned
And he didn't know
before.
and,
That she was placing the
pregnant. And she
baby.
didn't know. And
Yeah.
he didn't know that she was pregnant.
And some of the other kids were his too, right?
Yeah,
Were they
but he
both?
didn't know about this one. And
Yeah.
they said if he finds out,
So it was
he
like
would-
there's
he
this
could- he
shroud
would-
of
he-
secrecy
he might
around
come
it
to your
that we
house.
had to help
that's
keep.
scary,
And
yeah.
we were like, oh,
Yeah, no,
it's
that's
so
just-
crazy.
I
I
don't
remember being out front pulling weeds and this like low rider like booming car drove past and I was like,
He's
here. This is my life now.
That's what you're like.
We had a girl
looking-
that
Wow.
we've had a few girls that have escaped.
Yeah.
I say
Oh,
escape, but and truly, I kind of think that might be an accurate word.
Yeah.
Like
Totally, yes.
really hairy situations.
Yeah.
And
It's really sad.
it is.
It's scary.
It's tough, but
Yeah.
and you do. These have been non-identifying,
Yeah.
so not
Yes.
open enough where they know anything about the adoptive mom's family.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, I want like, is that? It's just scary.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Nerve wracking.
Well, but the adoptive family has to know all of that.
Right.
before
Do they?
What-
See, I wasn't
and
exactly
they-
sure
they
what.
told
yeah.
us. They're just like, just so you know, if
we have to.
if he
we have
finds
to
out,
disclose
yeah,
that.
if
we
he
have
finds
to.
out, he'll come to town and he will.
Yeah. And we were
Right.
like, okay.
Isn't that scary?
We're like,
Yeah.
we have a
Scary.
deadbolt. We'll be
But
fine.
if there's
I would be like
Drain.
You're on
so
the- on
paranoid
edge,
about
yeah.
everything. I'd be like,
Yeah.
who's that person?
Yeah. Where
Are they
following me?
related to him? Like,
I know.
are we
But it's like
okay?
the worst fear because like there's like always the hesitation of like what if it doesn't work out and what
Right.
if there's like the thing. Then you always hear about people who like they fall prey to like scammers who are trying to.
yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like and so you're trying to be Like, so your like question is, can you open your heart up, but you don't want to get hurt, but you need to open your heart up.
Yeah.
And I think the hardest part is like, you have to be willing to like lead with vulnerability in the process.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're waiting for them to be vulnerable first, like it's never going to happen. Like you just have to like, you have to sit, be like, you know what? You might like destroy our, like, you might like make us really hurt, but it's whatever.
It's a chance
It's
we're
like-
willing to take.
If you've ever watched an episode of The Bachelor, you know
You
that
may not.
the person who holds back to say how much they care is going to be riding the limo home.
So true.
You've got to be willing to just put your heart out there. If you're never going to get the rose. You'll never get a rose if you hold off and not say how you feel.
Yeah.
So that's
So true.
you've got to lead with vulnerability, or else you're in the limo.
Yeah. You're done.
It's
Don't you
done.
think that adoptive families have to automatically go in with that anyway? I feel like we go through a process where you open your heart up and you're so willing to put yourself out there because you have to make the nice little birth parent, what's it called? What do we call it? For adoptive families, you have to write that they're birth parent letter.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
but you're so careful. 'Cause
yeah.
you're like, well, we'll be really nice if you pick us.
Yeah.
But like, just pick us though.
I know, but
You know,
see,
but
that's
if
the
you don't
thing.
pick us,
And then you're
then
scared to put pictures because you're like, okay, are they going to think
They're-
we're this or that? Or
you're trying to guess
Yeah.
what they're gonna pick.
yeah,
And in the
it's so
end,
hard.
I think the secret to like making it work is you just have to be just super authentic
Yeah.
and super vulnerable, and just know like, you know what, if it works, it works. Like they're
Yeah.
they're
Right.
gonna love us or they're not, and it's like, but at least we're just gonna be all in,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and it's just gonna like I just like with ours. Like if we had been super hesitant on all the like even after even after things fell apart on that second one, like if we had just been like, well, we'll prove it, like that, and it would have been hard because like we were in California, and like when the birth mom says we'll fly out here, and we were like, no, we played this game before. When you're at the agency, then we'll show up. Like, well,
Yeah.
but like we just had like, you know
Good
what?
point.
Yeah, like we're in, like we're all in,
Yeah.
and we're just like we're
Mhm.
buying plane tickets. We're gonna come, and like you haven't signed anything, but like whatever. Like if it's, and she could have changed her mind. Like
Oh,
you
she
just-
totally
there's
would have.
nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if we had been like jaded and upset and angry and like held grudges, and then that never would have happened. Like we never ever.
It wouldn't have worked.
Yeah.
No, because you were
Yeah.
like, what's wrong with you? Like,
Yeah.
because we don't mess around. Like, like it's a done deal. It's a done deal. Like, oh, it's like, what about that super sweet letter? Like that was.
My
before.
wife wrote that.
That was. But I'm the negotiator now, and I'm going to tell you how this is going to work. So,
Well, I think the two words that you used, authentic and
Vulnerable.
Yeah.
vulnerable.
Yeah.
That says it all. Like
Yeah.
those are
That's the key.
those are really great words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's how you connect with humans in general.
Mm-hmm.
Like we all have that intuition. Someone's holding something back, or, you know,
Yeah.
that's why I chose my adopted family, because they were just very transparent. They were super sweet. They said, hey, this is what we suck at. This is what we're good at. Like,
Yeah.
take it or leave it kind of thing. And I felt that connection with them. So I like
that's
that.
cool.
Well, of course,
Vulnerability.
once they met you, they were like all in. I'm
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
Sure.
No, they're like
We were
this.
all so nervous that day.
Oh, I'm
like
sure.
the first
but
day.
getting nervous would be
Like,
really
oh.
funny, actually.
Like, they're going to totally offend them. And then they'll be like, this guy's an idiot. Like, we like her, but that
I was
guy.
gonna say you balance all
Like,
of it out.
she's like so sweet. But he's kind of an idiot. And she's like,
Oh man.
That's so
Guys
funny.
are
it just
so great.
makes
I
her
know.
way more charitable. It's like, look how nice
Oh
she
my
is.
gosh.
Like,
Whatever.
so much compassion. So
She's
much.
willing to take on a baby and she has
Yes,
him.
a baby. Yeah, totally.
You guys are so much fun. Seriously.
I know. You guys are
Well,
great.
thanks.
Yeah. Are there any last words that you guys would like to say before we close? It's like church.
You want to start?
Before we close.
Any closing comments?
Any closing remarks?
Closing remarks?
Closing remarks for people considering adoption. Is that who?
Who
Yeah.
would be the person
Who-
you want us to talk to?
Yeah.
Whoever you want to talk to.
Okay, go ahead. They're waiting for this message. This is what they
Maybe one of you
No
should
pressure.
do a birth mom
No
and one of you
pressure
get
at
to
all.
adoptive
The whole
families.
time they've been like, this is dumb, but I'm waiting for the
Whatever.
They're like,
We love you
This
guys.
is
This has
the
been
man.
great. My cheeks are gonna hurt all night
this is the
tonight.
thing they've been waiting for. This. Go
Okay,
ahead.
I guess
Pressure.
you're giving the closing
No, go ahead.
statement. No, I'm out after
You
that.
scared to death.
There's no way.
The built up all that stuff.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh.
Take us home.
It's all you.
So ChatGPT 4 is great.
You're like, hold
I
on
think-
1 second.
I mean, people like the little phrase is always like adoption's all about love, and I think you really don't understand like how much like emotion there is in the process until you go down that road. But there's so much connection and there's so much respect in the community for other, because like you don't even realize how prevalent adoption is.
Mm-hmm.
And you might think like this is like this battle that you're on your own. You're like, because it's easy to see like everybody else, it's all working out. Like,
Yeah.
like you're like, I'm the one person it's not working for. Until you like shift and you're like, holy cow, there's a ton of other people.
Mm-hmm.
This is like a bigger community than I ever thought. And it's like, it is. And there's so much instant connection when you connect with anybody who's been down the adoption process. It's almost like,
Yeah.
it's like when you meet, like when I was in an event recently and I met this guy who was a Navy SEAL. And like, and I started talking about my Navy SEAL experience. It was like an instant connection, a bond with this guy because it was like a thing that we connected with. And like when you talk to somebody and they bring up adoption, it's like instant connection. You're like, okay, you paid the price. We paid like
Like on any side, right?
Any
Whether you're
side.
an adoptee,
just the
if
heart.
you're
birth
adopted
parent, like,
parent,
you're like,
birth
oh,
parent,
I've
like
been
the
a birth
whole.
parent. You're
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, like I
Love
think
birth
so
parents.
much of you
Oh my
already.
gosh,
There's like
like-
instant respect and like
Yeah.
instant care that you have for them. You don't even know them. They're total strangers. And you're already like, oh my gosh, I think that's so amazing. Like you already have like an instant connection with someone like that. And so I think that's like the coolest thing is like there is so much true charity and connection in that space. So that's, and like, but you feel like you're in this war and it's a battle and you're like, it's like you're the one person that's fighting it until you realize like, oh my gosh, I'm just like, there's a lot of other people going on this journey too. And it's like, this is like, there's a lot of other people who have been forged the road before. And then you're going to model like a lot of care behind. And I look at our children, like how much impact that they're just getting started. They're like 18 and 16 right now, but like their story, then like the generations that they'll impact will be, and then our other, like it's transcendent what the impact it has in the marketplace and in the world. So that's it.
Thank you for that.
That's it. That was
a lot.
that was
That was really
that was
good.
amazing.
Thanks.
That's kind of why we started this podcast, is just so people don't feel like they're going on this journey alone, because it's really easy for you to get in that headspace. And we talk about this all the time, but having other people to connect with makes it just a little bit easier and brings more quality to your life and your story.
Mm-hmm.
So we appreciate you guys coming on.
No problem.
Sure.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.